All right. Let's see. Worm is I believe it's a solo project started back in 2012. I think he's been doing this project himself for about 10 years now. And his first couple demos, I think when I wrote a review of one of his records, I couldn't really figure out the reference. Other people have pointed to like LLN and that kind of sort of raw French black metal influence. It's really beside the point. He started out as a solo black metal project and incorporated a lot of different influences over time, eventually landing on early black doom metal, eventually death doom metal, and then some funeral doom that sort of all of that sort of came together for three very good albums. And the progression of them was pretty cool. It's sort of an extreme doom sort of walkthrough that became more sophisticated and I think arguably a little bit more showy, a little bit more intent on producing flair, I guess, and that translates well to things like merch and hype and whatnot. But beside the point, uh, really the project is coming off a really huge peak with for Everglade. That was just a fantastic album. It meets such a high standard that what he does next is very hotly anticipated. So, well, what is Bluenothing if it's not a new record? Well, it's the missing final third of Foreverglade, sort of. It's two songs that would have made up an extra third of the album that are amazing. If you like that, like definitely just if you liked Foreverglade, buy Bluenothing because you're getting something, one just side A is just two great songs of that same quality. They weren't cut from that album because they sucked. That's for sure. This is a great song. I think it's better than some of the songs they picked for Forever Glade. And um, that's sort of the problem with this EP though, is because side A is fantastic. I would have bought it just for side A, and the cover art is amazing. Everything about this record is just cool as fuck. And then you get to side B, and he's made it pretty clear that he's going to be transitioning into a symphonic black metal band. And I like that. I like symphonic black metal. I grew up with that. I'm just old enough to where like late 90s bullshit is, I remember that quite well because that was when I was basically finishing high school. So, um, so we get about 8 minutes of what is basically a teaser of that style. And the way that I've seen it is if you can draw a parallel between Altars of Madness and Nocturnus is the Key with early Emperor and the guitar style and some of the approach, you'll understand what I mean when you hear this sort of shred filled attempt at symphonic black metal, where they haven't really written a song for you to stick in your head. They've written a song that shows off how freaking much these guys can shred. And there were a lot of shred guitar solos on the last album, and now this these two songs, which are about 2 and 6 minutes long each, um, they just kind of shred at it and kick into gear. It's like they're setting up an album to start, and then the teaser is over. Um, maybe that's my attention span. Maybe I'm not freaking out enough about it, but uh, it's just okay. It's pretty cool. One of my favorite records of that era is Sad Realm of the Stars. I think Odium is really great. I think he probably likes that album too. There's plenty of other references you could pull that had a bit of technical ability, but also fantastic, interesting sort of celestial black metal style. And I think it's a cool reference. I don't know what it has to do with where Worm was before. So that's sort of where I'm like, well, I really love that he can sort of pick and choose where he goes next. I don't know. I'm interested to see how smooth of a transition it is because on this EP, it sort of feels like we get one side from one band and then another side from another band, and maybe they were on the same label or they have the same members, but it's not really the same project, you know. And it's not really a complaint, but I know personally, I will probably never flip over to side B more than once because side A is so great and side B is just sort of like coming soon. So, that, that sort of has to factor into my rating here. Normally, I would give this band a much higher rating because I do believe that he's really captured the highest level of, as far as you can take, sort of a death doom metal sound in that style, which is along the line of like Evoken and something like that. So, um, it's not that I'm not excited to hear what he does with symphonic black metal, but it's very well tread territory versus what he was doing before, which is a modern standard that few people have ever met. So that's sort of my hesitation there. And otherwise, it is another great Worm release. I think this thing is packed with freaking art that is just fantastic. And yeah, the side A is worth getting it alone. So, uh, read through the review, check it out more. Go listen to the record and see what you think.